Dear students, welcome back. In the last session, we discussed terrestrial and aquatic habitats. Different animals and plants are found in different habitats. You can now easily list which organisms inhabit which types of habitats. What items do you find in your home? For example, a coconut tree, mango tree, rose plant, lily plant, pet dog, cow, table, chairs, sofa, stairs, and television, etc. Which of these are living and which are non-living? How can you identify them? Join me in this session to learn how to differentiate between living and non-living things. This session will explore the characteristics used to identify living organisms. As part of the topic Characteristics of Organisms from the lesson The Living Organisms, Characteristics and Habitats for Class 6 Science. Learning outcomes. After studying this topic, you will be able to distinguish between living and non-living things, understand growth as a characteristic of living organisms, understand the need for food for growth, understand respiration as a characteristic of living organisms. Keywords: living, non-living, photosynthesis, herbivores, carnivores, growth, respiration. Let us have a look at the concept map on the characteristics of living organisms here. Differentiating living from non-living. How can we determine if something is living? This can be challenging. While we recognize plants as living organisms, they don't move like animals such as dogs or pigeons. Yet, vehicles like cars and buses can move, but we classify them as non-living. Both plants and animals grow over time, but clouds also appear to grow in size. Leading to the question, are clouds living? The answer is no. So, how do we differentiate between living and non-living things? Do living things have special features that make them different from non-living things? Humans are great examples of living beings. There are some common characteristics found in both plants and animals. Here, we will learn about the following characteristics. Growth. Growth is how living things get bigger and change as they get older. For example, when a baby is born, it starts as a tiny infant and grows into a tall adult, whether they become a man or a woman. During the period of its growth, the baby gains in height, weight, and strength. This whole process usually takes from 18 to 21 years. Animals grow too. Puppies, for example, start as small and then grow into big dogs. Similarly, a chick that hatches from an egg will grow into a hen or a cock. How does a plant grow? Can we see a plant growing? Plants grow continuously throughout their lives. To observe the difference in plant growth, let's try a small activity. Activity. Tie a thread to the tip of a potted sapling. Keep the thread stretched and tie to a peg or nail positioned above the plant. After 10 days, you will observe the plant growing along the thread. This demonstrates how plants increase in height. The growth of all plants can be measured by the width and height of their stems. During their growth, some plants develop branches while others do not. In most living organisms, growth is limited and occurs only during certain life stages. However, plants can continue to grow as long as they live. Food. Growth is a fundamental characteristic of all living organisms. However, in order to grow, any organism requires food. How do plants and animals obtain their food? Plants in particular have the ability to make their own food using sunlight. They produce food by utilizing water, nutrients from the soil, and carbon dioxide from the air. This process occurs in the chlorophyll contained in the leaves, which gives plants their green appearance. The process of food production in plants is known as photosynthesis. During photosynthesis, plants release oxygen as a byproduct. Animals, however, do not contain chlorophyll and thus do not produce their own food. Instead, they search for food to meet their needs. For example, animals such as goats, sheep, and horses eat grass and are classified as herbivores. The wild animals like tigers and lions hunt other animals for food and are known as carnivores. Food provides organisms with the energy required for various life processes occurring within them. Respiration. Can animals survive only on food, or do they need anything else? How is the food taken is converted into the energy required for other life processes. Breathing is essential for the survival of living beings. It is part of a process called respiration. During respiration, the air we inhale contains oxygen, which is utilized by cells to produce energy. The air we exhale contains carbon dioxide. The process of breathing in animals such as cows, buffaloes, dogs, and cats is similar to that in humans. When we observe a resting animal, the slow movement of its body indicates that it is breathing. The process of respiration is essential for converting the food we consume into energy. How do we respire? We breathe through the nose, and the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide occurs in the lungs. However, different animals have various mechanisms for gas exchange. For example, earthworms breathe through their skin. Fish have gills for using oxygen dissolved in water. Frogs, birds, and other higher animals have lungs. Do plants also respire? Yes, plants do respire. The exchange of gases in plants mainly takes place through their leaves. The leaves take in air through tiny pores and use the oxygen. They release carbon dioxide back into the atmosphere. You know that during photosynthesis, plants use sunlight and carbon dioxide to produce food and release oxygen. This oxygen is utilized by all organisms for respiration. The amount of oxygen released during the food preparation process by plants is much greater than the oxygen they use for their own respiration. Respiration in plants occur both day and night. These are some characteristics of living organisms, and stay tuned to learn more in the next session. Points to remember. All living organisms are distinguished from non-living things based on certain characteristics. Growth is a vital characteristic of living organisms, as all of them exhibit growth. Food is essential for growth and all other life processes in living organisms. Plants prepare food through photosynthesis, while animals depend either on plants or other animals for their food. The food consumed is converted into energy through the process of respiration. Thank you for watching.